what's going on, aarava here, and welcome to a bit of a different video today. We're going to be looking at the Crew 2, the game that comes out in late June, and we've got some early exclusive gameplay thanks to GameRight. A huge thanks for him for lending the footage to me, allowing me to use it, so be sure to go check out the original video and links to his channel down below. Big thanks to him for allowing me to use the footage, because today we're going to be checking out an F1 car in the Crew 2. An F1 car that I didn't know was in this game. I knew that the game was going to have an F1 style prototype of car, which is this kind of futuristic looking F1 car, you know, the closed cockpit design, sleek, slipstream, almost like what every designer designs an F1 car to look like when the question is asked, what is F1 going to look like in 20 years time or something like that, you know, in 2025 or, you know, beyond, what F1 in the future is going to be. But what I did not know is that this game has also partnered with Red Bull, it looks like, to fully license the 2017 Challenger, the RB13. Unlucky for some, or lucky for some, the RB13 is going to be in the Crew 2, which is insane. It's awesome to see that it's going to be in an open world racing game, because this is the first time something like this has actually happened, because we've had F1 cars in other racing games like Forza Motorsport, for example. The 2017 Renault is in that game for Forza Motorsport 7. We had previous Renault cars, F1 cars, in the Motorsport game from Forza, but we've never had a licensed F1 car in an open world game. That's the difference here. The Crew 2 is an open world game. The gameplay you're going to see today in the video whilst I'm talking is on a racetrack, but that's because the Crew 2's map has a racetrack built into it, but the rest of it is just basically their version of the USA. A huge, expansive map. If you're familiar with the original, the Crew game, that map was huge. It was their version of USA. Well, the Crew 2 is back at it again with a huge, expansive open world map, and the Red Bull F1 car, the RB13, is available to purchase. It's quite expensive, as you would imagine. The concept F1 car, Alpha Mark II, costs 583,800 currency, I guess, in-game, and then the Red Bull car costs 418,600. So pretty expensive, but actually the concept car is more expensive. I would imagine maybe they've made the concept car even more powerful and maybe faster in the corners than the Red Bull one, due to the fact it's a big old concept one, so they can do whatever the hell they want. But I guess they kind of try to maybe make the Red Bull RB13 somewhat realistic. Obviously, there are differences. The physics engine will be the physics engine of the Crew 2, but I think they've done a pretty damn good job. Obviously, in terms of the way it looks bloody beautiful. Obviously, the Cody's games do a good job of, you know, the way it looks in-game, but it does leave some things to be desired. And definitely in the engine the Crew 2 is running on, the game's lighting system and everything like that, and just the context of having that car in this world, it looks stunning to me. It really looks good. If you guys agree with me, do let me know in the comments below. I think they've done a great job. Obviously, because it's fully licensed, it's not like they're doing a bodge job of just trying to copy and mimic it. It is literally the fully, you know, licensed car. They've probably been given the geometries by Red Bull, just like all the teams do to Codemasters, like Renault did for Forza Motorsport 7. So it's all correct there. And in terms of the way it drives, though, I've seen a few guys on Twitter kind of talk about how it drives. It's not exactly, obviously, like it would do in the F1 game. The movement's a little bit more kind of maybe lighter on its feet, but it's an arcade kind of racer game, so that's what you would expect, really. But that's not the point. When I drive an F1 car in an open world game, really, I'm not really caring too much about the physics, honestly. I'm kind of caring more about, holy crap, I'm driving an F1 car in an open world game. And obviously, as I said, the gameplay here is all on a racetrack, but you can see glimpses. Like, if we pause it at certain points, you can see that city in the background, which I was already looking forward to getting the Crew 2. I missed the boat on the original, the Crew game, and so I just never picked it up and really dove into it. I was already looking forward to getting the Crew 2 because it looked pretty sweet. They've also added stuff like boats and planes, along with a whole array of motorsport cars and also just sports cars and exotic cars, obviously. And the map itself looks stunning. It looks like they've done a lot more work on trying to make the gameplay a bit more fleshed out. There's stuff like apartments, which you can upgrade as you go along the game progression. So it all looks really good, and I was really intrigued to get into it. But now more than ever, this is a 100% guaranteed purchase for me now, just to try the RB13. And I don't know, I already saw a few of you guys on Twitter tweeting me when I was talking about this yesterday, that it was also going to be maybe a guaranteed purchase for some of you guys now, because you saw the F1 car was going to be in it. And I think, you know, that's the great thing hoping for games like this is they will get some purchases made, some conversion rates made of F1 fans when they have F1 cars in their game. And so I'm hoping, you know, now this is kind of a pattern. We saw the Renault in Forza, the Red Bull here in the Crew 2. I really hope, fingers crossed, this is a pattern in the future that we see more and more F1 cars being licensed into other open world racing games, because it's all well and good, yeah, having F1 cars in track races like I said, of course, you know, what X, Y, and Z, you name it, the Codemasters games. But at the end of the day, you're driving around a racetrack, and it's a closed off loop. It's something else to drive a car like that in an open world context. Like, it's cool to drive sports cars, but obviously for me and maybe for a lot of you guys, big F1 fans, it's just hella cool and takes it to a new level to have the cars, the motorsport cars that we love to watch and race around racetracks, to have that in a complete open sandbox kind of context where you can just go mad, you can floor it around apexes or like supposed apexes of city landscapes, do awesome insane jumps as well, because the Crew 2 has a lot of jumps built into the map, so you can do crazy jumps as well. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to hopefully make for some awesome videos, which hopefully you guys are looking forward to. At the end of June, I definitely am going to be making some content on this game with the F1 car once I get my hands on it. So we talked a lot about the visual aspect here, guys, but I'm now just going to leave a little bit of this video clip just without me commentating, just so you guys can hear the sounds of the game, and then we'll discuss those as well. So as you can see, not exactly what we used to from the Cody's games or any other games that have the F1 car, but I think, you know, pretty along the same kind of lines. They've done a pretty decent job. Remember, this is not their main, you know, area of expertise. They're you know, working on an open world racing game. This is sort of a tacked on sort of thing, like almost like a little bit of inbuilt DLC of they've got the licensing for this car, because initial builds of this game only showed the kind of F1 concept car when we saw previous videos from other YouTubers earlier on in the year and last year. So this was probably just late into the cycle, probably only in the last couple of months maybe, that they got this license into the game and into this final kind of build before they launched the beta at the end of this month, I think, at the very beginning of June. So, you know, they've done a pretty damn good job, I think, honestly. And also, something I haven't noted is, if you'll notice as we've gone through the video, you might have seen in the background as I've been talking, they have different cameras for it. They have the chase T-cam, which obviously is going to be a normal thing with the other cars. You need the kind of chase camera, but they do have the bonnet camera, and then this kind of hybrid cockpit camera, which is almost like the cockpit camera that I like to make when I try cockpit cam in the F1 game. You guys know me, I don't really care too much about the whole realism aspect. Oh, I need to have full cockpit camera in there. Like, this is a much better cockpit camera for me personally, especially in this context of game where it's a bit raised and a bit higher than the actual realistic height of your eyes would be in an F1 car, because you can see the world, you can appreciate a lot more. When I'm in this type of game, I want to appreciate the world I'm in. I don't want to look at half the car for half the screen. You know, I just want to pound round in the fast car, appreciate the world and the context it's in. So I really like actually the cockpit camera. I think they've done a great job on that. So because that was also a worry, because in Forza they don't have that. In Forza Motorsport 7, if you actually saw the video I made when the game launched last year, they only have unfortunately the chase camera and then the bonnet camera there and the normal fully cockpit cam. They don't really have a T-cam per se, whereas this is like a nice hybrid blend. It's kind of like a cockpit cam, but it's also half like a T-cam, sort of just as if you took the T-cam from the Codemasters games and just adjusted the height down. So I really like that, and it's a perfect blend and perfect compromise for me personally, in my opinion. So yeah, guys, that's where I'm going to call it a day for me talking about the Red Bull RB13 and in the Crew 2. As I said, I'm looking forward to it, and I will be looking to do some videos on it. And if you did enjoy this one, be sure to hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see some content made from this game when it comes out at the end of June, especially obviously with the F1 car. Do let me know in the comments below, and do let me know, as I said before, if you like the look of it and just any thoughts you have on it. And also a little question maybe to end on: do you think this opens up, the future for more F1 cars to feature in other racing games? Liberty Media obviously want to maybe push F1 as a brand and advertise it more, and I'm liking this vibe of the Red Bull and now Renault showing up in 2 different games. Hopefully we see more of it. I definitely would not be opposed to it. It's only a good thing for F1 to kind of get more exposure to other casual, other racing fans, because there are so many fans that are, fans of racing games and, sports cars that maybe aren't too familiar with F1, or, they know about F1, but they've not been exposed to it properly or don't really know a lot about it. And this can be a nice way to ease them into that experience rather than just fully fledging going out and buying the official F1 game, which for those casual fans could be a bit daunting in terms of a bit overwhelming of, okay, it's a bit too much of F1 and a little bit less away from the racing. So this is a nice kind of blend between the 2 worlds. So do let me know if you guys think this will hopefully open up, and would you like to see more of that stuff in the future. But yeah, if you are new around here, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content on this channel. If you come here searching for the Crew 2 gameplay, then do get subscribed for that as well. Like I said, I will be bringing out the Crew 2 gameplay and video content when the game comes out, probably more heavily leaning towards the F1 car, using it in the game, but nevertheless, it's going to be gameplay of the Crew 2 nonetheless, so do get subscribed. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.